Hello and welcome back to another week of the Korean Beauty Show podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Lee, Kbeauty expert, resident of Seoul, South Korea, and your guide to the world of Korean beauty, Korean skincare, Korean makeup, everything you need to know. And as you guys will know, if you have been listening for a little while, Tuesday's episode is the episode where we cover everything that is new and going on in the world of Kbeauty, starting with, of course, the news headlines. So we've actually had a couple of different sort of conversations, I guess you could say, going on in the headlines at the same time. And one of the big ones from last week was that the mayor of Seoul, who is a man called Oh Se-hoon, has unveiled his visions for basically what he wants to do with the city of Seoul. He's up for re-election on the 1st of June. So ahead of the election, he has sort of come out and said what his plan is, what he wants to do. And one of the really interesting things, among many things that he was saying that he wants to do, is actually develop beauty brands to promote the K lifestyle to the world as a global standard for a healthy lifestyle. So apparently part of his plan, other things include things like he wants urban forests to cover at least 10% of the city. He was sort of benchmarking Seoul against London and New York and saying that, they've got urban forests that account for approximately 21 to 24% of the total city area. So he's wanting to sort of boost that as well. And one of the really interesting things was that from 2023, they're going to invest more funds into building up the Kbeauty, I guess, space. So he said, out of the four main axes that comprise the city's vision towards those in their 20s and 30s, the most important one is making the city feel romantic and attractive. And what completes that axis will be Kbeauty. So apparently they're going to be setting up a special development zone for the beauty and fashion, I guess, projects for the sector in Dongdaemun. And they're going to also ease construction regulations around there for fashion brand operators in historic sites and old buildings. So really interesting headlines there. I'm not quite sure what to make of that. I'm not quite sure what's prompted that either. Obviously Kbeauty, K-lifestyle and fashion and all of that is a big trend, but I'm not really sure where this has all come from. So that was a bit of an interesting one for me personally to see that in the headlines, just because I wasn't quite sure what he was really talking about. But anyway, it sounds like that is a plan, at least. Whether it goes ahead or not quite sure, but that is in the planning stage. The other thing in the headlines this week was that Kbeauty brands are continuing to feel the effects of China's lockdowns. So apparently that Shanghai has been shut down. Basically, China is pursuing a zero COVID strategy and they're doing lockdowns when there are a lot of outbreaks. So that has forced a lot of Kbeauty companies to either shut their manufacturing plants or, close their stores and things like that. So that was making the headlines this week. China's impact on Kbeauty sales and promotions and activities is pretty constant in the news headlines for Korean beauty brands, just because of firstly how many Chinese people buy Kbeauty products. It is such a huge export market for Kbeauty. So whatever is happening in China sort of impacts on the brand's bottom lines, the brands that sell into China obviously quite heavily. So that is just a constant that you will see if you follow Kbeauty through the years. Any government policies basically have the ability to impact on the bottom line for, people that work at the plants, the supply chains and things like that. So that was in the headlines this week. And another one, just a little bit of a fun one. If you have been following the podcast this year, you will know that we were discussing Singles Inferno, which was basically a Korean reality dating series on Netflix. It blew up at the beginning of the year. There was a lot of discussions around sort of the Korean beauty standard, the preference for some contestants about what they were calling a whiter, purer skin. So that sort of kicked off our discussion on the show about that, and just talking about contemporary Korean beauty standards and what is considered to be beautiful. But then, of course, there were a whole series of scandals around the show. One of the contestants was caught out by Korean netizens for wearing fake luxury goods. So that sort of blew up. Anyway, the long and the short of it is that it is coming back. It will be back for season 2. There is no release date as yet, but, I guess it will probably be coming out soon. The basic premise of the show is that there were 5 men, 5 women, and they were trapped on an island and basically had to sort of, hang out with each other, fend for themselves, cook and do all of those sort of things. And the only way that they could escape from the, deserted island, the Hell Island, was to, find a partner to shack up with someone, and then they would get flown off the island in a helicopter, transported to another, what they were calling, Paradise Island, and given the luxury treatment in like a 5-star hotel for the night, and then they would have to go back. So that was basically the show. It was pretty good fun. If you haven't already seen it, it's worth a watch. Very, as you would expect from reality TV, lighthearted, not to be taken super seriously, but it is coming back for season 2. So if you were a fan of the original season, then that is good news for you. So look, we've also had, I'll read out one of the other reviews for the podcast that has been left. And our reviewer said, I've just started listening to the Style Story podcast. I am enjoying the variety of topics and the length of the podcast. I can finish it on my commute to work, and it is so informative. The information is presented in an accessible way. The topics are relevant to all K-beauty lovers. Another feature I like is brand recommendations and that the products are available on the website. So thank you so much to our reviewer. Guys, I would love for you to leave your review for the podcast if you haven't already. You can leave it in Apple Podcasts if you're listening there. Otherwise, you can leave it on Style Story's Facebook page, and you can also join our Facebook group, Kbeauty Down Under, while you are there. We'd love to have you in the group, chatting all things Kbeauty. Other places you can leave it are on Google, or, sort of anywhere else where you find a podcast platform that allows reviews. Apple is the big one that I know of. I don't think Spotify does, but I know there are a couple of other ones that do. So feel free. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear what you're liking. If you have any segments that are your favorites, that's just really useful information for me to know, as well as obviously other listeners. So that was our review for the week. And for our question of the week for this week, one of our listeners was asking, where should I start if I've never tried Korean beauty products before? And I think this can be such a common worry or concern for people. There are so many people out there, recommending things. There are so many, cult products to tick off your list. So my recommendation of just a really simple, easy way to dip your little pinky toe into the waters of Kbeauty without spending a whole lot of money, we have a section on the Style Story website with mini skincare sets on there. So I just went on and had a check, and at the moment we've got maybe about 7. We've got a Kbeauty Hits mini set, we've got a mini travel skincare set, a dry skincare mini set, a skin soothing mini skincare, summer one, Kbeauty All Stars, and a Kbeauty home facial kit. And what these is they come in a little Style Story branded travel bag, or reusable travel bag that you can put your skincare in when you go on holidays or away for a night. And they have basically deluxe mini products in them, or otherwise like a deluxe sample size of a couple of different products, maybe 4 different products, so that you can try them out, get a taste for what Kbeauty is all about, some styles of product that you might like to try, like cleansing balms and things like that, moisturizers, just a couple of different categories that you may not have actually tried before. So I actually think if you've never tried any Kbeauty products before, rather than going out and spending a whole heap of money, dabbling in some minis is a really, really great way to just get a feel for what it's all about. So that would be my recommendation. If you're not quite sure which of the minis is going to be perfect for you, obviously just drop us a line via email. You can DM me on Instagram. I am at lauren.kbeauty. I would be more than happy to help you out and, match you with the set that's going to be the best fit for your skin and your skin concerns. But that would be my recommendation. I think, particularly when you're just starting out with something, there's nothing worse than spending a couple of $100 and then, you realize that it's just not quite what you were after, and then you have to go back out again and do the same thing. So I think minis are a great way to go about starting out. Now, for our Kbeauty releases for this week, I did mention, would have been a couple of months ago now, that we had a whole bunch of new releases from a brand called Skin Chonsa. Skin 1004 is how it's written in English. So I thought I might take this opportunity to just go through some of the products that are new with you guys and sort of explain what they are, what they do, and who might benefit from them. So the first one on my list is Skin Chonsa's Madagascar Centella Spot Cream. So this is the kind of product that I think is really perfect for people that have breakouts. Obviously, if you have broken out, once the pimple starts clearing up, sometimes you'll have a little mark left over. And these kind of products, these spot creams, are just really, really helpful to help your skin bounce back after something like that. They're really perfect for skin that has become damaged through, something like acne, has become sensitized and also a bit weak. And they just help to protect and soothe the skin while it's not in its best state. So that's how I would recommend using a product like this. And I did mention on the show a little while ago that Skin Chonsa, their brand concept is that they are using Centella asiatica, this really precious herb. It's a plant extract that's very perfect basically for acne prone skin, damaged skin, sensitive skin, and they're using a type from Madagascar. So the people in Madagascar have used Centella asiatica for many centuries, and so that's the kind of extract that they're using, and they've obviously combined it with a couple of other ingredients as well. In this particular formula, they are using 50% of Centella asiatica extract, and they've put that together in a formula with glycerin, which is just a really nice hydrating ingredient that helps to maintain the skin's moisture levels. They've also used panthenol, which is also known as vitamin B5, and that also is another good one to help lock in the moisture. You'll often see that in nappy creams. It's just really good for skin that has, become, damaged, red, anything like that, just to protect the barrier from any additional stress and irritation. That's basically what panthenol is really good for. So I think that's a great option for you if you do suffer from breakouts and find that the little red marks afterwards just sort of tend to hang around for a while. A spot cream like this one, we have a couple of different options up on the website at the moment. Off the top of my head, I know we have one from CosRx, we have another one from Benton, and that one's actually been quite popular as well. So a few different options for you to explore if you're in the market for something like that. Now, the other product that I had on my list was their Madagascar Centella Toning Toner. Now, I had the opportunity to try this one for myself because the brand recommends that it is a good option for sensitive skin, and I have very, very reactive and sensitive skin. So I wanted to try it out and just see. And having used it myself, I think that this is a better option for oily and combination skin. That is who I would recommend it for. And that's because it actually does contain PHA, which is this type of acid. It's a very, very gentle one, but I think for people that have truly sensitive and reactive skin, that just might not be the best fit. Obviously, there are variations of sensitivity, and it also depends what you are sensitive to. People use the term sensitive sensitive skin as like a blanket category. But at the end of the day, what you yourself are sensitive to and will react to is going to be very personal to you. So I would say, having used it for myself, that I think that oily and combination skin types is who it's going to be really great for. It does have 84% of Centella asiatica extract. It also has niacinamide, which is again a great option for people that have enlarged pores, which, you know, frequently goes hand in hand with the oilier and combination skin types. It's got adenosine and betaine, and of course the PHA that I mentioned. So this is a watery style toner. So if that is the type of toner that you like using, then that will be a good fit for you. And obviously it does have the mild peeling benefits thanks to the PHA. Slightly acidic, which is good to match the pH balance of your skin. So this is a really, really, really popular product. Like, this is one of the star products from the line that has been trending here in Korea. So a very popular product on the ground here. It's designed to be used as a daily toner as well. So if you're in the market for something like that, if you really like Centella asiatica and are looking for it in a nice watery formula, I think this will be a nice one for you to try out. So hopefully, you know, someone out there that sort of ticks a lot of their boxes. I hope that I can, you know, introduce something that might be of interest to you. And we also have a couple of new Kbeauty reviews for the week. The first one was for Jellicoe Cherry Blossom Sleeping Mask, and the reviewer said, "Can I just say, wow, this mask has blown all other gels out of the water. A heavyweight gel that packs a punch. I don't know if I can look at other gels the same. I may have found the one for life for me. The rich texture of this one makes it great for all skin types. My only con is the floral scent. It's not very potent and doesn't stay for long, but I'm not the hugest fan of floral scents." So that was a very well-rounded review, I think, from our reviewer there. So thank you so much for your review. And then we also have a review for our Kbeauty All-Star set, which is one of our mini skincare sets. And our reviewer gave it 5 stars, and she said, "I really didn't know where to start in terms of using a Kbeauty process, so I emailed staff. Received a really helpful comment back recommending this pack as a starting point to get a feel for different products. Best advice ever. Really enjoyed trying and using these products and have now moved on to purchasing some of the products to use on a regular basis. Thanks so much, Style Story." So really helpful that was a good kickoff point, I guess, to then go and work out what other products to try next. So super happy to hear that was a good recommendation from our team. And thank you very much for your review if you are a podcast listener. Now, on to a new segment of the show that I have been trialing out for the last little while. And I must say, this is the most stressful part of this new style of show for me, just because I have to keep coming up with a recommendation for the week. And of course, there are so many things that I would love to recommend that I'm just not 100% sure how accessible they are in the English language. So there's a lot of like TV shows and things like that I myself love watching, but a lot of them don't necessarily have English subtitles. So I'm a little bit hesitant to go and recommend something that, you know, not very many people are going to benefit from. And the same goes for a lot of the things that you could, you know, do on the ground when you're here in Korea. I'm just not sure how many of our listeners are regular visitors, I guess, to Korea, to Seoul. If you are, or you're the kind of person that, you know, likes to plan trips based on stuff to see, hit me up and let me know, because I can include more of that sort of stuff. I'm just not sure how relevant it will be. So I will leave it up to you guys to get in touch and let me know what it is that you actually want to hear more about. For now, I'm going to stick to stuff that I know for a fact is just a little bit more accessible to everyone. So my recommendation for this week is actually a film. It's a bit of an old one. It's from 2014, but it is still one of the highest grossing Korean films in the history of South Korean cinema. So the film is called 국제시장, or in English, Ode to My Father, Ode as in ODE. And this is just a really beautiful film. I have watched it several times because, you know, through the process of learning Korean, a lot of our teachers showed this film to us in class. You know, like if it was getting to the end of, you know, I don't know, the semester or something like that, and they were sort of dialing it in a bit, they were like, okay, let's watch a movie. And everyone was like, cool, let's do that. So this is just, it's a beautiful film. And basically what it does is it actually, in a really cinematic way, traces the history of South Korea from the 1950s all the way through to the present day. And the lead character basically is the person that experiences a lot of these events. I guess kind of like Forrest Gump, you know, that he's there experiencing all this stuff firsthand. It's sort of similar to that, but obviously in a very Korean context. So he manages to escape and is evacuated from Hungnam in 1950 during the Korean War. He also, throughout his life, is sort of dispatched to West Germany, which is another thing that a lot of Koreans were sent to West Germany to help out as migrant workers. A lot of the women ended up working there as nurses, and a lot of men in things like the German coal mines. So basically he experiences a lot of trauma and a lot of loss as they're escaping from the North Koreans. You know, his family gets split apart, and basically he loses touch with his father and his little sister, and the story goes from there. Basically that's where it starts off, and then explores his life and all the things that happened to him after then. It's really, really beautiful. You will definitely cry, so if you don't like sad movies, this might not be a good one. Just so moving, and I think it is a really good way to learn about a lot of the events that sort of impacted on Korea and made it the place that it is today. But it's shot really, really beautifully. It's a lovely, lovely movie. I think it's probably a must-watch for anyone that is really interested in Korea, just to get a better understanding of where the country is today. So that is Ode to My Father. It is a 2014 film, and definitely I've seen it before with subtitles, so you will be able to find it. So hopefully, if you haven't already seen that one, you can go and find it somewhere and watch it, and you'll have to let me know what you think. You'll have to let me know if you manage to make it through without crying, because I cry every time I watch it, even though I know what's going to happen. So that's just a really nice one. I'm going to leave it there for today's episode. I will of course be back on Thursday with our deep dive episode, so make sure that you stay subscribed, and until then I will see you on Star Story.